What's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? Cut that countdown short. I was like, let's just get it. Let's just get it. Let's just get it. Welcome. Appreciate you joining me this evening. We are on episode 8 of Any Questions, and Any Questions means exactly that. I am here to answer any questions that you may have concerning music theory or concerning the piano. I am not the know all of everything. I don't know everything. But if you have a question and I could help you, with the answer, I am willing to help you right now. So that is why we're doing this stream. If you would like to hop on the stream with me as a video call, a video chat, or just an audio, you can join me. Feel free to join me. There is a link in the comments section. And matter of fact, I'll just post it one more time. If you click that link, that will allow you to join me on here. So if you want to have a discussion and maybe just ask a few questions back and forth, and even if you just want to just kind of hang out and rap a little bit, that's cool. Now, before I start answering and taking questions, I have been doing a series of chords in the key of C. And last week, I believe we looked at C, suspended 2 chords, or should I just say suspended 2 chords, suspended 4 chords. I believe we did minor 7, major 7 chords as well. So this week, I wanted to talk about the dominant chords, fully diminished chords, and half diminished chords, also known as flat 5 chords. So I want to go ahead on and we want to get that lesson started. Again, if you have a question that you would like to ask me, feel free to type it in the comments section, or feel free to join me live on the stream by using the link that I just posted in the chat box down there. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead on and let's do a refresher from last week's lesson in the key of C. And then I will go ahead on and we will talk about dominant chords and diminished chords. And then at that point, if we have any questions, we'll go ahead on and take those questions. And if not, then we'll call it a night. Whatever happens, you know what I'm saying? So to recap some of the lessons that we had in the key of C, hold on, let me make sure I got the thing set correctly. Yes, I do. Okay. All right. So let's just recap. We're in the key of C major. And we want to make sure that I'm assuming that most of you that have had any type of piano training already is familiar with your C major scale, right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And of course, you can keep going up the piano, keep going down the piano. That's going to be your scale. Okay. And of course, when you're in the key of C, C is considered to be 1. D is considered to be 2. E will be 3, F4, G5, A6, B7. Now, when you get back to C, basically it's an octave. You can look at it as an 8, but you never really will hear anybody call it 8. You're just basically back at 1 again. Now, when you're doing extended chords that go beyond sevenths, the note that used to be known as your 2 note is also known as a 9 note, is your 9th, I should say. So if you remember down here, I said 1, 2, and I said D was 2, was your 2nd note. But if you're dealing with those extended chords where you're doing 9th chords, 11th and 13, then that means after you finish with B being number 7, then you can kind of skip over C and look at D as being 9. Okay, that's 9. So silently, you can think of E as 10, but we don't ever call it the 10th chord. And then that means F will become an 11th. Okay, 11th. Then you can kind of silently just think of G as 12, but we never call G a 12th note. I'm just saying, just kind of think of it like that. And then when you get to A, you got your basically the 13th. Okay, so when you look at it like that, you can look at it as 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Okay, so there you go. Now that we have an understanding of that, this will work with every single major scale. Okay, the formula that I'm about to explain with you will happen as you learn every single major scale. You can use this no matter which key you're in. If you're in the key of E flat and you learn that scale, then this formula will work in the key of E flat, A flat, B flat, F, G, A, all of them. Okay. Now, to make a major chord, then again, right now, we're just doing a quick refresh right now. So to create a major chord, you always want to take the first note of your major scale, the third note of the major scale, and the fifth note of the major scale. You play those three notes together, 1, 3, 5, and voila, simple as that. You have a major chord. So now you have a C major chord. Okay. Now, if you take that and add the seventh note, so now you got 1, 3, 5, and now play the seventh note as well. Not only do you have a C major chord, but you have a C major seventh chord. Okay, so as you can see, I'm using the first, the third, the fifth, and the seventh note of the scale. C major 7. If you add the ninth note of the scale, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, now you have a C major 9. Okay, I think you're getting, and I think you're understanding the concept that I'm trying to teach right there. Okay, now let's talk about minor chords. How do you change a major chord into a minor chord? Again, what I'm doing right now is just doing a review before we jump into the dominant chords and half diminished and fully diminished chords. I just want to make sure I do a quick refresh just in case this is your first time watching the stream. Now, if you take your C major chord, again, we know it's the first note, third note, fifth note of the scale. If you take the third note of the scale and you lower that note a half step to the left or a half step down, you now have a C minor chord. That is all you have to do to change any major chord to a minor chord. If you know how to play the major chord, then you should automatically know how to play the minor chord because it's only a one note difference. Okay, and that's taking the third note of the scale, lowering a half step. Now you can take that same philosophy and let's go to C major 7. Okay, so now we have the C major 7 chord. You got the 1, 3, 5, and 7. Now, if you take that third note, lower that a half step, and take the seventh note and lower that a half step, you now have a C minor 7. Okay, so if you don't play that minor 7, you just have a C minor chord. But if you add the B flat, C minor 7. Okay, so now we know how to play a major chord, major 7, minor chord, minor 7. Okay, I'm not going to go into all the 9ths and 11ths and 13ths. We'll do that another week. We'll just stop at the 7ths for right now. Okay, now last week I introduced to you sus chords. Okay, suspended fourth chords and suspended second chords, suspended 2. Okay, now let's go back to the C major chord. This was last week's lesson, episode 7, just in case you might not have seen it. Okay, you have your major chord, 1, 3, 5. Now, I told you if you take the third note of the scale and drop it down a half step, it becomes minor. Well, what happens if you take that third note and raise it a half step? When you do that, now you have what is called a suspended 4 chord or a sus 4 chord, or commonly just called sus. C sus. A lot of times you'll just see, if you're looking at sheet music and they have the guitar chord names written on top, it'll just say C sus. If you don't see a number next to the sus, you can assume that it's a suspended 4. Okay, and that's all you have to do with any major chord. Let's say you already know how to play an E flat major chord. Okay, so play your E flat major chord. If you take that third note of the scale, which is the G, and raise it a half step, you now have a suspended 4 chord. Major, suspended, and then if you bring it back down to G, you basically resolve that suspension, right? You're back on the E flat major. Let's go back to the key of C because I really want to kind of stay in the key of C. I just wanted to show that for those that may be slightly more advanced. But again, major, sus4, and then back to major. And then last week we introduced sus2 chords, okay? Sus2 chords is when instead of playing the 1, the 3, and the 5th note of the scale, instead you only play the 1, the 2, and the 5th note of the scale. When you do that, you have a suspended 2 chord, okay? Suspended 2. So suspended 2 and suspended 4, or sus2, sus4, they are different chords. Do not think that they're the same thing. No. You got C major, C sus4, C major, C sus2, and then back to C major. So listen to that without me talking in between the chords so that you can hear what the chords sound like. Okay, all right, so there you go. So that's how you take a chord and make it a suspended 4 or a sus2 chord. Now, today's lesson, we're going to focus on fully diminished chords, and then half diminished. Let's say, okay, let me say it like this. We're going to look at diminished chords. We're going to look at diminished 7 chords. We're going to look at half diminished 7 chords. And we're also going to look at dominant chords, okay? I think I might even throw in augmented. Now that I think about it, I think augmented chords will be good to explain in this lesson too. As a matter of fact, yes, we're going to talk about augmented chords, how to take a chord and augment it. Okay, as a matter of fact, we're going to start with the augmented chord first. So, everyone, again, I'm assuming most people in here you're already familiar with the C major chord, okay? C, E, G. Now, if you take the 5th note of the C major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the G, right? So if you take that G and you raise the note a half step to the right, you will have what is called augmented. That's how you take a chord and create an augmented chord. So now you have C augmented. C major, C augmented. Okay, so that's how you augment a chord. Just for those that might be slightly advanced and you already know your E flat major scale. If you know how to play an E flat major chord, same thing. If you take the 5th note of the E flat major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you raise it a half step, now you have E flat augmented. E flat major, E flat augmented. Okay? It's that simple. I just showed that for those that may be slightly advanced. Let's go back to the key of C now. Okay, now let's talk about diminished chords. Okay, how do you take a chord and make it a diminished chord? Well, you do the exact opposite of what I just told you. Now you're going to take that 5th note of the scale, in this case that's the G, and you lower that note a half step. If you lower it a half step, well, they call in this C major flat 5 for some reason, but actually, I'm sorry. It's not just the 5th note, it's the 3rd note too. You got to lower the 3rd note. Sorry about that. I was getting ready to say I'm doing something wrong. I figured it out. You have to lower the 3rd note of the scale as well as the 5th note. When you do that, you have a diminished chord. That is how you diminish the chord. So basically what you do is you start with your minor chord. Okay, again, we should know the C major chord, right? I already told you to make that chord minor, you take that third note and lower it a half step, right? Well, when you take the fifth note and lower that a half step as well, now you've diminished the chord. So let's listen to the three chords back to back. Okay, again, major, minor, diminished. Okay. Oh yeah, and also augmented. Almost forgot about that. So that's how you do the basic augmented chord and the basic diminished chords. Now, when you're dealing with a type of seventh chord, you have what is called diminished seven, or in also can be referred to as a fully diminished chord. Okay. But then you also can have what is called a half diminished chord. So we're going to look at both of those. We're going to look at both of those. So let's go to C minor 7 first, because we already talked about C minor 7, okay? But let's, for those of you that if you don't know, if you're not able to go immediately to a C minor 7 and you have to work your way there, let's just work our way there for a second. You remember the C major 7 chord, right? 1, 3, 5, 7th note of the scale. Take the third note, lower it a half step. Take the 7th note, lower it a half step. Voila, C minor 7, okay? Beautiful. Now, when you take the 5th note of the scale and the 7th note of that, I'm saying the scale, I should, well, actually, okay, yeah, I can say that. When you take the 5th note of the scale and the minor 7th note of the scale, in this case, B flat is the minor 7 because B is what? B is the major 7, and when you lower it a half step, B flat becomes the minor 7, okay? Now, if you take that B flat, right, which is the minor 7, and you lower that a half step again, as well as taking the 5th note and lowering that, you have what is called a diminished 7. So basically, remember when I showed you what the C diminished chord looked like? Remember that was like about 2 minutes ago. We looked at that. I said he got your C major, C minor, C diminished, right? Okay, so now you have C diminished. So if you take your major 7th note and you lower it a half step only, well, let's say we take the major note, since I'm here, let me just say it this way. If you take the 7th note and you lower it a whole step, you have a fully diminished C chord, okay? C diminished 7. C diminished 7. Now, if there are plenty of songs where you will see where it'll say, well, usually on the chord sheet or even in sheet music, it might just say flat 5. If you see something that say C minor flat 5 or something like that, you see something like that, that's just another way of saying half diminished, okay? So here we go. So let's take our diminished chord. Let's take our C diminished chord again, right? Now here's our major 7 chord. Now if you only take that major 7th note and lower it a half step, not a whole step, just a half step, you have what is called flat 5. This is a diminished chord, but it's not fully diminished. It's basically is only half diminished, okay? And again, you will see on sheet music, I have plenty of sheet music that I've bought over the years. And most of the time you will see something that will say, you'll see a minor 7 name and then it'll say flat 5, just like you see on the screen right now with my software, C minor 7 flat 5. So that's half diminished. And of course, if you take that minor 7 and lower it down a half step one more time, Now you have a fully diminished chord. Okay, 7, diminished 7th chord, a diminished 7 chord. So let's take a look at it. Let's go back to the major 7 chord so we can see all the differences. So here we go. C major 7. Okay. Then we want to do C minor 7. Okay, we learned C minor 7 earlier. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that 5th note only, the 5th note of the C major scale, which is G, and we're going to lower that a half step. Now we have a C minor 7 flat 5, also known as half diminished. Now if you take that minor 7, that B flat, and you lower that a half step, now you have a fully diminished C. You now have a C diminished 7 chord. Okay. I'm also supposed to go over the dominant chord. Okay, so let's talk about the dominant chord. Okay, now for a dominant chord is actually a lot easier to think of it. A dominant 7 chord, what you can do is, let's start with the major 7 chord. Right? We know C major 7. To turn this C major 7 chord into a dominant 7 chord, all you have to do is to take the 7th, the major 7th, which is the B, and you lower that a half step. That's it. Now, as you see on the screen, it just says C7. Notice that it doesn't say C MAG 7. It doesn't say C MIN, which, major 7. MAG stands for major. MIN stands for minor. Notice it doesn't say any of that. It just simply says C7. When you're reading chord sheets, especially my chord sheets, or even the chords that's in sheet music, when you buy sheet music and you're looking at the chords on the top, I don't think I've ever seen the word dominant ever spelled out. You'll just see the letter and a number. So whenever you see that, they're telling you to play the dominant 7. So C7 is just short for dominant 7. So that's all you have to do to play a dominant 7 chord, is to just simply take the major 7th note and lower it a half step. The rest of your notes can stay in their major position. C, E, G, that's C major. Minor 7 on the top. And there we go. That's your dominant 7 chord. Now here's the beauty of this. Once you understand the formula and how to do this, you can do this with every single scale. That's why it's so important to make sure that you learn your scales, so that you can teach yourself all the chords that you need to learn in every single key, and you can teach yourself at your own pace. Now, of course, today's lesson was supposed to be in the key of C, which I actually did. I showed it to you in the key of C, but just for those that may be slightly advanced and want to do more, you want to do more than just that. I want to just show you how to do the exact same thing that I just explained. I want to show you how to do it in another key and show you that it still works the exact same way. So let's take the key of G. Okay, so we want to take the key of G. So let's make sure that we know the G major scale first, because it's important to know which sharp note to play in the key of G. So if you're in the key of G, G is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, F sharp, that's your 7, and then G. So the key of G, your major scale, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now remember, if we're dealing with extended chords, which we're not going to deal with, but it's still worth teaching right now, that's your 7. You can, in your mind, just think of the G being an 8, even though we're never going to really call it that. And if you go to the A, that's going to be your 9. You can just, like I said, we're never going to call B the 10 chord, but you can kind of just in your mind think, well, if that's 10, okay, yeah, that's 10. That means C becomes your 11. We're not going to call D 12, but E becomes your 13. And that's it. After that, you go back to G again, and then you're back at 1. So you got 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and then you're back at 1 again. Okay. So all right. So now we're in the key of G. Let's do every single chord that we've learned how to do in the key of G now. Okay. So we're in the key of G. So our major chord is what? The first, the third, and the fifth note of the major scale. So what are those notes? G is the first note. B is the third note. D is the fifth note, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 5. There you go. Got your G major chord right there for you, okay? So there you go, G major. Most of you probably know how to play a G major chord, okay. All right, now, all you have to do to make this a minor chord, again, is to do what? You take the third note of the scale, of the G major scale, which is 1, 2, 3, B, and lower it a half step. When you do that, you have a G minor chord, okay? G major, G minor. Notice I'm using the same formula that I used in the key of C. When we were in the key of C, you had your C major chord, and when I took the third note of the C scale and lowered it a half step, you had C minor. Now I'm taking that formula and I'm applying it to the key of G. All right, so in the key of G, you got the first, third, fifth note of the scale. I'm taking that third note and I'm lowering it a half step. Now we got G minor. Okay, now let's go back to the major for a second. Now, if you want to play a G major 7 chord, all you have to do is play the 1, 3, 5, and the 7th note of the scale. Now remember, in the key of G, the 7th note is not just a regular F, it's F sharp. 1, 3, 5, 7. So you add that F sharp and voila, you have your G major 7. G major 7, and I already showed you the G minor chord, right? All right, I showed you the G minor chord. That was when you took the major chord, you lowered the third note of the scale a half step. Well, if you do the same thing with the 7th note of the scale, which is the F sharp, and you bring that down a half step, now you have a G minor 7 chord. Okay, G minor 7. So let's review. G major 7. G minor 7. Okay, you with me so far? Okay, now let's look at the augmented chord. Okay, now remember, to make a chord augmented, what you do is you take the major chord and then you look at the 5th note of the scale. In the key of G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. D is that 5th note. You take that 5th note and you raise it a half step. And when you raise it a half step, it is now a augmented chord, okay? So now you have G augmented. Okay, all right, it's that simple with the augmented chord. Okay, let's come back to G major. Now let's talk about the diminished chord. Now remember, to make a chord diminish, you start with the minor chord. Now you already figured out how to play the minor chord, remember? We played the G minor chord already. So you take that G minor chord, and now you're going to take the 5th note of the G major scale and lower it a half step. When you do that, now you have a diminished chord, okay? G minor, G diminished. Listen to the difference without me talking between the two chords. Okay, diminished. Okay, and listen to the difference of the major chord and the augmented chord without me talking between the two chords. Diminish. Okay. All right. So those are the three fingered chords that we went over so far. While we here, let's just go over the sus4 and the sus2 chords because we went over sus2 and sus4 last week. So let's take that same formula and let's go over that. So to take that G major chord and make it a sus4 chord, you take the third note of the major scale, which is B, okay? And then you raise it a half step to the right, a half step to the right, a half step to the right. And there you go. Now you have what is called G sus4. Again, we are following the exact same formula that we used in the key of C to create this sus4 chord. Take a look at, let's go back to C just for a second. Remember in the C major chord, we had the 1, 3, 5. And I told you if you take the third note of the C major scale, 1, 2, 3, the E, and raise it a half step, sus4, right? Back to major. Now we're in the key of G. When you do the exact same formula, take the third note of that scale in the key of G, G, A, B. B is the third note. When you take that third note and raise it a half step, sus4. Again, I'm telling y'all, if you learn this formula that I'm telling you, you can figure this out in every single key. You'll be able to play an A flat sus4, A flat sus2, B flat sus4, B flat sus2. Just follow the formula, okay? Okay, so that's the sus4 chord. Now, to do a sus2 chord, a suspended 2 chord. Oh, hey, Bev T, D Adams, Mayoli, I see you in the chat. How y'all doing? What's going on, Bev T? You've been absent for a second. We played your track again this past Sunday, but let me get back to my lesson and I'll rap at you later. Okay. All right, let's get back now with the sus2 chord. To play a suspended 2 chord, instead of playing a 1, 3, 5, which is what you do for a major chord, play the 1, the first note of the major scale, the second note of the major scale, and the 5th note of the major scale. When you do that, you now have a sus2 chord. And remember, sus2 and sus4 chords are different chords. Don't think that they're the same thing. They're different. Let's take a look at it again. Major, sus4, major, sus2, and then back to major again, okay? So sus4, sus2. And again, I use the same formula that I used in the key of C. Let's revisit the key of C again. I took that third note of the scale, I raised it a half step. C4. Now when I decided to play the 1, the 2nd, and the 5th note of the C scale, sus2. Okay, so take it up to the key of G, do the exact same thing. Okay, it works with every single scale. Before I get off here, I'm going to show you in one more key. I'm going to do one more key. I'm going to randomly pick a key. I'm going to ask someone in the chat room when that come up. I'm going to say, just pick a key. Pick a key. I'm going to let someone in the chat room, when I ask, don't start typing the keys now. But when I finish going through G, I'm going to ask you, you pick whatever key other than C or G. Pick any key. And don't say Z sharp or X flat, okay? We ain't doing that, okay? If you don't understand the joke behind that, then you really need to, just stay with my class here. We got to get you caught up, okay? All right, so, okay, now we're going to go to the major 7 chord again. All right, so we got the G major 7 chord, okay. Now, we showed you the G minor 7 already, which is the if you start with the G major chord, G major 7, and you take the third note of the G scale, which is the B, and you lower it a half step. And if you take the seventh note of the G major scale and lower it a half step, you have a G minor 7 chord. Okay, so there, G minor 7. Now from this minor 7 chord, if you want to turn this into a half diminished chord, G minor 7 flat 5, all you have to do, they call it a flat 5. So which note are you going to change? The fifth note of the scale, right? That's why it's called flat 5, right? Also known as half diminished. So you take that fifth note and you do exactly what that note says. Flat the 5. How do you flat a note? You go back a half step. Bam, just like that. That's simple. Just like that. If you want to take a minor 7, if you want to take a minor 7 chord and make it a flat 5 chord, then do what the chord says do. Take the fifth note of the scale and flat it. Okay? That's half diminished. And if you want to fully diminish this chord, you're going to have to also flatten the seventh, the minor 7, which is in this case the F. Take it down. Now you have a G diminished 7 chord. So let's go back to the major 7 and let's look at all the chords. So that's your major 7, right? And to turn this into a minor 7, we took the third and the seventh note and dropped them down a half step. Okay, minor 7. In order to get a flat 5 chord, we did exactly what it said. We took the 5 and we made it flat. There we go. G minor 7, flat 5, half diminished. And to make it fully diminished, we're going to take the minor 7 note, which is the F, and lower it again. Okay, and there you go. You have your G diminished 7 chord. Now we need to show you the dominant chord. All right, so let's talk about the G dominant 7 chord. So it's real simple. Start with your G major 7 chord. All you have to do is to take the major 7th note of the scale, 1, 3, 5, 7, that's F sharp, right? And you just lower it a half step. That's all you got to do. That's it. That's all you got to do. Now you have a diminished 7 chord. That's I said diminished, I meant to say dominant. Now you have a G dominant 7 chord. That is all you have to do to make a major 7 chord a dominant 7 chord. Okay, so I think those were all the chords I wanted to the type of chords that I wanted to show tonight. So let's just let's recap, because I showed you the chords in C major, then I showed you the chords in the key of G, and I'm going to ask someone in the chat, when I say to you, you're going to type a key. Whatever key, whoever types that key first, when I say ready, set, go, whatever key comes up, I'm going to go to that key, and we're going to do the major chord, we're going to do the minor chord, the augmented chord, the diminished chord, the minor 7 flat 5, the fully diminished chord, and the dominant chord in that key, okay? And we're going to look at the scale, okay? But let's just recap real quick. Coming back to the key of C. C major, C minor, C diminished, right? Okay, let's go back to C major. C major, sus4, sus2, back to C major. Major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, flat 5, and diminished, C diminished 7. I believe I got all of them. I think I did. Did I do augmented? Just in case I didn't do augmented, I might not have did C augmented. There you go, C augmented. All right. So, okay, so those are our chords in the key of C. Now let's go back to the key of G. Now let's look at the key of G. Again, you need to know your scale. you're going to play, if you do not know the scale of the key that you're in, you're going to play the chords incorrectly. So let's make sure in the key of C, everybody knows the C major scale. In the key of G, make sure you know that your scale is G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Okay, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. Okay, now that we got our scale, now we can take that formula and we're going to go hit on and break and show all the chords in the key of G. So of course our major chord is the 1, 3, 5. Okay, that's your major chord. Take that third note of the scale, lower it a half step. Minor. Okay. Now check this out. To make it a sus4, you do what? You take the third and raise it a half step. Right? Major. And the sus2 chord is the 1, 2, and 5th note of the scale. Okay, so and if you want to make it augmented, all you have to do is take the 5th note of that G major scale and raise it a half step. Augmented, okay? And if you want to make this chord diminished, you're going to take the 3rd and the 5th note of the scale and lower both of them down by a half step. There's your diminished chord. So diminished. Okay. Now let's go to our 7 chords now. Yo, what's going on, First Sons Motif? What's going on, y'all? If y'all haven't checked out his channel, man, he has a lot of content on his channel. And he's been a friend to my channel probably since, what, 2016, 2017. Member of my Patreon community, all that good stuff. And he has lots of, matter of fact, he's trying to take my job and do piano tutorials over there sometimes too. So if y'all looking to replace me with somebody, you can just go to him and he can put me out of a job. Okay. All right, we're going to go to the major 7 chords now. All right, so of course our major 7 chord. 1, 3, 5. There you go. And you just play the 7th note. So you got major 7. Now the easiest thing to do is to make it a dominant 7. So let's do that first. To make it dominant, take your major 7. Now you have a G7 chord, which is short for G dominant 7. Right? Okay. Now from the dominant chord, we're going to make this a minor 7 chord by taking the 3rd note of the scale and lowering that a half step. Okay, now we got G minor 7. Okay, so major 7, dominant 7, minor 7. Yo, First Sons, man, I'm just messing with you, man. You know we good, man. Trust me, if we weren't good, I wouldn't be telling people to go to your channel, man. Major 7, dominant 7, minor 7. Okay, so now let's take a look at okay, now that we're at minor 7. Okay, we're at minor 7. So if we want to do minor 7 flat 5, we do what? We do exactly what the chord says. We're going to take the 5th note of the scale and flat it. G minor flat 5. If we want to, which is also known as half diminished. If we want to fully diminish the chord, then you got to take that minor 7 and lower that a half step. Okay, diminished. So there we go. Did I cover everything? I think I covered all the 7 chords. So major, dominant, minor, flat 5, fully 5. Okay. All right. So cool. There we go. Now I told y'all that I was going to, just to make sure that you understand the formula, you can do this with every major scale. So the next, whoever wants, whatever key you want me to do that same exercise in, you can type the key. The first person to type a key and I see down there, I'm going to do that same exercise in that key. Just don't choose C or G because I just did that key. Which key would you like to see me do that same exercise and break down every chord? I'm just waiting. Key of E. What's going on, James? All right. All right. Okay. The key of E. Okay. So first of all, you need to make sure that you know the key of E. We need to know that scale, right? Now, a few weeks ago, I might do D flat too. Martin, you came in kind of late, but you know what I'm saying? I like teaching music theory. I've always loved music theory. I might do the D flat too. I might do D flat. But anyway, okay. The major scale. Now, let me just go over a formula that will help you figure out the major scale. And this was on episode 4 or 5. So I went into detail earlier, but let me put this up on the screen. Okay, you see what I just posted on the screen? It says whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. This is a formula that you can use that will help you figure out what the notes are in that major scale. So he said the key of E. There go the E right there. Oh, you can't see that. Let me go an octave higher. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see it. You should be able to see that red note that I'm playing. There go the E right there. So if you use this formula that you see on the screen, what you do is you play your note first. Okay, there go your E. Now move a whole step. Move another whole step. Move a half step. Whole step. Whole step. Whole step. Half step. Play those notes together. There you go. You just played the E major scale. You can use that formula. Write that down. If now, of course, you can always just Google it and say, Google, and they'll give you a sheet that will have all your scales written out. But if you really want to quickly internalize the scale so that you can know it without a cheat sheet, sometimes it's good to just sit down and figure it out. And that's a good way of figuring out, is to just sit down and be like, you know what? No, I'm not going to just read it off of paper. I'm going to figure this out. Again, you got your E, right? Now go a whole step. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So that means the key of E has 4 different black notes, accidentals, sharps, okay? And those notes are G sharp, A sharp, C sharp, D sharp. Why am I spending so much time going over that? Because if you do not play this scale correctly, you will play all the chords incorrectly. That's the reason why, okay? All right, so that's our scale. So now I'm going to take that off the screen. Hold on. So that I don't have to play it. I hate playing up here for too long. It messes with my ear. So we're going to come back down here now, right? That sounds much better. Okay, cool. All right, so to play an E major chord, we're going to play the first note, the third note, and the fifth note, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 5. Okay, there you go. So that's your E major chord, right? 1, 3, 5. To make that minor, you're going to have to take the third note of the scale. That's the G sharp. As a matter of fact, so that it displays the names right, I'm going to get this thing to display the key of E. There we go, so that we see the proper names. Okay. Okay, so E major. So take the third note, which is the G sharp, and lower it a half step. Simple. Boom. Just like that. Now we have an E minor chord. Okay. E major, E minor. Okay. Now, if we want to take and make this chord even lower, we can make it a diminished chord by taking what? The fifth note of the scale and lowering that a half step. Now you have a E diminished chord. Okay? So got it? Okay. Major, minor, diminished. Okay. Now let's look at the augmented chord, because that's a 3-fingered chord too. So go back to the E major chord, take the 5th note of the scale, raise it a half step. There you go. E augmented. So we got okay, that was a bad order. It didn't sound right, but I played all the chords right. Okay, now let's look at the sus4 chords and the sus2 chords in the key of E. Going back to the major chord as our reference, for sus4, we take the 3rd note, raise it a half step. There you go. E sus4. Notice that I'm using the exact same formula. The notes are different because the scale is different for every key, but the formula that I'm using is exactly the same, okay? So again, take the 3rd note of the scale, raise it a half step. There go your sus4 chord. Now, if you play the 1st, 2nd note, and 5th note of the E major scale, you have a sus2 chord. So let's listen to those. Okay, got you. Did I do augmented? I think I did augmented, just in case I didn't. And diminish. I think I did diminish, right? I can't remember if I did. I'm getting old. Be quiet, Kim. I don't know if it came out there. But anyway, just in case I didn't do, I can't remember if I did it or not. But I think I did. So you got your E major chord. You make it minor, and then you take the 5th note, and then you lower that. And there you go, diminish, right? Minor, diminished. Now for augmented, you got to start with the major chord. Start with the major chord. And you raise that 5th note up. Augmented. Okay. Okay. Okay, now let's go to our 7 chords now. So let's start with the E major 7 chord. The E major 7 chord is going to be the 1st note of the E major scale, 3rd, the 5th note, and the 7th note. Okay, because remember our E major scale again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. 1, 3, 5, 7. Major 7. Now, let's make this a minor 7. To make it a minor 7, you take the 3rd note and the 7th note and lower both of them a half step. There we go. Now we got our E minor 7 chord. Now, if we want to make this E minor 7 flat 5, what is it that we do again? We do exactly what the chord says to do. We're going to take the 5 and we're going to flat it. Okay, so here's the 5th note. There we go. So now we have an E minor 7 flat 5. Flat 5 chords are also known as what? Half diminished. Okay, so there you go. You got a half diminished chord. Now to make this fully diminished, you have to take that 7th note, that minor 7, and lower that a half step as well. When you do that, now you have a fully diminished 7 chord. E diminished 7 chord. Okay, minor 7, half diminished, fully diminished. Okay, and then we also need this. I need to show you the dominant 7 chord. Okay, so again, with the dominant 7 chord, all you're doing is you go. Notice I went back to the E major 7. That's a good starting point. So you start right there. You take that major 7th note and you drop it a half step. E7. Again, when you're reading sheet music or chord sheets, you'll pretty much never see the word E dominant 7. You'll just see E7, or you might see C7, G7, A flat 7, or I should say G sharp 7. Well, that was a 9. G sharp 7. You know what I'm saying? You'll never see the word dominant. Okay. So just know when you see a letter and then a number next to it and you don't see MAG, which stands for major, or MIN, then they're telling you to play the dominant chord. Okay. All right. So there we go. I think I did all the chords now. So let's review. Oh, that was the wrong key. I'm supposed to be in the key of E. Okay. There we go. That's our dominant chord, the E dominant 7 chord. Okay, so let's review all the chords in E, and then we'll just remember, please just remember, learn the formula. If you learn the formula, you can sit down and you can figure out all these chords in every single key. Don't sit there and try to stress yourself out trying to remember all these at the same time and trying to get it real quick. Just take your time. I promise you, eventually, as your fingers create muscle memory, your fingers will immediately, the more you start playing these chords, you'll get that muscle memory, and your fingers will almost immediately go to the chords. Like when I'm playing music, let's say if I create a chord sheet or I'm reading sheet music and the chords are right there on the top. The reason why I can a lot of times just almost play it fluently with no mistakes is because of muscle memory. They're saying C major 9, okay. A minor 7. I'm like, okay, flat 5. It's like I just know G minor 7. Ooh. I mean, it's like I can't. It's like my fingers. It's like I create that muscle memory, and as your fingers get used to it. Now, let me say this too. It's also, once you learn the root position of these chords, it's also important to start playing with inversions of those chords. Okay, so let me go over the E chord again. I'm gonna go over all the chords in E. I'm going to jump back down to the key of C just for a second, and we're going to look at how to invert these chords, okay? Because I don't want to be too advanced, I'm going to go back to C, and then we're going to talk about how to invert the chords, because a lot of times you do not want to always play a chord just one way. Like every single time you see the key of C, you don't want to play C major like this every single time you see C major. Sometimes you want to play it like this. Sometimes you want to play it like this. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to play a C major 9 chord like this every single time. Sometimes you want to play it like this. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes you might want to play it like this instead of playing it like this. You don't want to play a C minor 7 chord like this every single time. Sometimes you might want to play it like this. You notice that I'm playing, the notes are in a different arrangement, but the screen is still showing you that I'm playing C minor 7, even though I'm playing it differently. Well, that's C minor 9. Okay. So that's where inversion, even with an A minor 7 flat 5. Okay, so here's an A minor 7 flat 5. But you might not want to play it like that all the time. Sometimes you might want to play it like this. You know what I'm saying? So that's where learning inversions also helps. You know what I'm saying? Learning inversion also helps. So, but let me go back to the E chord first. We're going to go back to the E chord, then I'm going to jump down to C, and we're going to jump through inversions, okay? If you're just joining me, welcome. I appreciate y'all coming. I will be answering your questions as soon as I finish this lesson. So if you have questions about the piano or music theory, feel free to ask your question either in the chat or feel free to jump onto this video right now. As you can see, we got Mitch down there, the superstar down there. We'll talk to him in a few minutes. But you can join me on here, and if we can have a conversation, if you need to keep, if we need to go back and forth as I explain things. This is the only time that I open up my live stream for people to just come on. Like my other live streams, you have to be invited, okay? Okay, E chords. Let's go over the E chords again. So we got E major 7. Wow, hold up. Let me just give a thank you to someone. Let me see. This is Lloyd Lawrence. Thank you so much. I don't know. Is that a Canadian
Oh,
currency?
that's British. Five
British. Okay.
pounds.
Well, thank you for the
Pounds.
£5 in British. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, Now, okay, back to the E chords one more time. So, E major, E minor, E diminished. Now let's do the sus2 and sus4 chords. So, here's major, sus4, sus2, back to major again. Okay. Oh, I need to show you augmented. So the augmented chord. Here's the E major chord, augmented, and then back to major. Okay. If you're just joining in and you're like, "Hey, man, you're not being detailed," believe me when I tell you, I've already went through this detail. Just look at this live stream from the beginning. Right now I'm just recapping right now because I can be very long-winded sometimes when I talk. Be quiet, Kim. All right. So, all right, let's go to the major 7 chords. Okay, so here we go. Well, let's go to the 7 chords. Okay, here we go. So that's major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, flat 5, also known as half diminished. There she go. Look at Kim talking about truth. Fully diminished. Okay, that's fully again. Well, hold on. I was supposed to do this. Hold on. So flat 5, E minor 7, flat 5, fully diminished. Oh yeah, and then let's go over the dominant. And then don't forget about the E7, okay? I probably should have did that first. Let me do that again. E major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, flat 5 or half diminished, fully diminished, okay? So there we go. Now, again, just understanding that formula will get you can learn your chords in every single key. So like some of you know that when I do my piano tutorials that I sell chord sheets. I'm going to do something I usually never do. I'm going to bring up a chord sheet. I'm going to bring up a chord sheet. Okay. I honestly wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm going to let y'all actually view one of my new pullers. I don't need y'all to see all my business. I'm gonna pull out a chord sheet and we're going to look at one of my chord sheets and we're going to see how a chord sheet will help you be able to play a song once you know your chords. Okay, so let me go to my secret folder. I can't show y'all where my folder is that has like hundreds of chord sheets. Y'all like, ooh, we want them for free. Not all the time it took for me to create these things. This is like 4 years worth of tutorials creating it. Let's see what songs we got here. Let me see. Something simple. Let me see. I don't know. I don't want nothing that got too many crazy chords in it. I wish I could think of something off the top of my head. You know what? I know I think I've shown Weak before by SWV, so let me see if I can find Weak by SWV. If it's not in this folder, it's in another folder. Hold up. I see Weak. Okay, Weak by SWV. So let's look at my chord sheet for Weak. All right, let me bring it over so you can see it because you can't see it right now. And I need to make it so that you can at least see the notes that I'm playing, right? So let's lower that and I'll try to make this as large as I can. So at least you can kind of still see the notes that I'm playing. There you go. You might not see the names of the chords. Let me see. Can I make it so that you can see the names of the chords too? Let me see. I just where's the names? Oh, right. Oh, you know what? Duh. Put it on this side. Duh. I knew that. Okay, now let's do this. Okay, now we can kind of see that. And you can see, okay, boom. Okay. Let's just look at where it says verse. This is what my chord sheets look like, by the way. If you ever purchase my chord sheets, they're designed like this. And I can't see that because I can half see. So let me make this a little bit larger. And that's probably better. Okay, so let's look at the verse. Okay, so we're looking at the verse right now. Now, right here, when we're looking at the verse, it's telling me that the first chord that I should play is a minor 7 chord. So now I'm not going to explain each chord. I'm just going to show you how knowing what chords to play will help you be able to purchase my chord sheet and just be able to play the song because you know your chords. So it says A minor 7. Oh, okay. I don't know what it is that you've done. And then it tells me to play a B flat major 9 chord. Or it says A major 9. What key is this song? This song is in F, I think. I don't know. Let me switch this to the key of F so you can see the correct names of the chords. And let's bring the sheet back. Okay, here we go. So back again. I don't know what it is. And then it says play a B flat major 9 chord. Okay, so that's what I'm doing, right? Done to me. And then it tells me to do what again? It says play another A minor 7 chord. Okay, but it's caused me to act in such a crazy. And then it tells me to play what? B major 9, B flat major 9. Crazy way. Whatever it is, A minor 7. Done to do B flat major 9. It's a feeling that I don't understand, or whatever. I don't want to end, or whatever she says. Now it says the pre-chorus is telling me to play a C minor 9 and a F dominant 9. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and describe all these chords. I'm just going to show you what I would do if I was looking at this. My heart starts beating triple times. Then it says B flat major 9. Thoughts of loving you on my mind. You see that? E flat 9. And then it says play C minor 9. Can't figure out just what to do. F13. When the cause and cure is you. And I know that chord is kind of cut out a little bit, but it's just saying play this chord. All right, whatever. Okay, right? And then you're going to go. And then it says for the chorus, it says, I get so weak in the knees, I can hardly speak. If you're following me right here where it says chorus, it's telling me which chords to play, right? So there we go. I get so weak in the knees, I can hardly speak. I lose all control and something takes over me in a daze, and it's so amazing, it's not a phase. I want you to stay with me. And then, of course, we just keep going and keep going. So I just wanted to just show you why, for me, I always tell people to learn your chords. You need to learn the chords. If you learn the chords, you'll be able to play so many songs. You can just be like, oh, man, House of Jazz done did a tutorial on that, man. Let me just buy the chord sheet. It's only $3, man, and I'll be able to play the song. So that's why I'm saying it's really important. If you really want to be able to play, it's really important to be able to, you just need to know the chords, man. Know the chords. You don't know the chords? Come on, man. Know the chords. Know the chords. Somebody said pick Jodeci. Nah, you're going to have to pay me. You're going to have to send something to my Cash App. You want me to show you some Jodeci chords, man. Come on now.
Yeah,
Jodeci chord. Jodeci, if you want some Forever My Lady chords, man, you're going to have to send something to my Cash App, man. My Cash App right here. If you want me to show you some of them Jodeci chords, man, you got to pay for the Jodeci chords, man. I gave you SWV for free, man. But you're going to have to send something to that Cash App or PayPal or something, or a Super Chat for that Jodeci stuff. But, okay. So nothing before free. We leave the this discussion and I open up the floor for just general questions that I may or may not be able to answer. I don't know. I'm not the know all of everything. Let me take my software back to the key of C, because we're going to go back to the key of C. So, bam. Okay, C major. So we're going to talk about being able to invert the chords. Again, if you're looking at a chord sheet or sheet music, you might not always want to play a C major chord exactly the way you see it, just like this. Now, you might sometimes want to play it as an inversion. So, inversion simply means, okay, well, you already know what notes are involved in a C major chord, right? To a C major chord, you need a C, a E, and a G. Now, it really doesn't matter where you play the C, E, or G, especially when your foundational note is the C. If you have your C, so this is my left hand. Just know it's my left hand playing the C. So on my right hand, if I would rather play, instead of playing the E right here, I might want to play the E down here, right? And then I might want to play the G right here. Guess what? I am still playing what? C, E, and G, right? C, E, G. Now, yes, I'm playing them in a different order. That's correct. That just means I'm just playing it in a different inversion. And we can even go into the names of the inversion. You got first inversion, second inversion. But it's not even really that important to know the name of the inversion as long as you just know how to invert those chords on the spot. So you can play your C major chord just like this. C, E, G. Or you can play C, E, G. Right? Or you can play C, E, G. Again, you're still playing the C, the E, and the G. So C major, C major, C major. All these are C major chords. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? All that's all we're talking about whenever you hear somebody say inversion, inversion, inversion. You can do the same thing with a major. Well, let's do minor chord. Let's do minor chord. So here's C minor. So what are the notes in the C minor chord? You got the 1. I better hold up for a second. Let me see something real quick. Hold on. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. Okay, C minor chord. So you got the 1. You got your C, your E flat, and your G, right? So, okay, so you got C, E flat, G. So as long as you're playing, so our foundational note is C. So as long as you got that C, E flat, G, if you want to take this G and play the G down here instead, guess what? It's still a C minor chord, okay? You're just playing it in a different inversion. But hey, what if I want to take the E flat from right here and I want to play it down here? Well, who wants to play it that low? But if you do that, it's still a C minor 7 chord. I mean, C minor chord. So you can play it like that. You can play the G down here. You might want to play it like this. See, I still have what? C, E flat, and G. So it does not matter the order. What really matters is if you have that foundation, you still got the foundation of that C. So you can go and do this. So you can say C minor, C minor, 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 C minor, 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 minor. It does, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, all those were C minor chords in different inversions. Now, you can do the exact same thing with a major 7 and a minor 7. So let's take a look at it for a second. So let's go to the major 7 the way we learned it about a few minutes ago. Okay, so C major 7. So you got your 1, 3, 5, 7. That's C, E, G, B. But hey man, but what if I'd rather play the G down here and play the B right here? Well, let's take a look. Do we still have a C? Look at my left hand. We got 2 C's, right? So we got the C, we got an E, we got a G, and we got a B. As a matter of fact, I had 2 G's. So let me take that off. So this is still a C major 7 chord because I still have C, E, G, B. And then you can just do all kinds of things. It's like, well, what if I want to take this G and play it up here? Guess what? You still have a C major 7 chord. So then what you do is you have to start practicing. Oh, sorry, that's not major 7. You have to start practicing all the different inversions, and it takes time for you to build that muscle memory. Okay, so you can do that with every single chord. So once you learn the chord, okay, I gave you the formula to build the chord. Let's take the C diminished chord. Let's do C diminished. Remember, this is the C diminished chord, right? Now, what if you might say, I'd rather play this F sharp chord down here. Guess what? You still have a what? C diminished chord. I don't even want to play the C on my right hand. Well, are you playing C on your left hand? Yup, so guess what? You still have a C diminished 7 chord. So you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. As long as you still have the notes that are required to make that chord, it doesn't matter the order. So that's all I wanted to show. I just thought I'd throw that in there. I wasn't even planning on talking about inversions, but we can look at inversions more next week. Maybe, or next week I might actually, we might can look at inversions. I was thinking about adding ninth chords, but we probably can add inversions. We'll see. It'll be a cross between next week. We'll look at, we can look at the 9 chords, like major 9, dominant 9, minor 9, and then we can take a more extensive, exclusive look into inversions, different inversions. But that was just for those of you that learned quickly what I literally just taught you. If you take what I just showed you, if you never knew anything about inversions before, you literally can take what I just showed you right there and be able to just wipe the keyboard, go to every key and be able to figure out different inversions. But that was the lesson that I wanted to kind of go over tonight. So hopefully this was beneficial. I appreciate those that came through. And as always, this stream is also called Any Questions. So what I want to do is open the floor up to questions. As you all can see, we have some people that have popped in. So we're going to say what's up. Both of these people I've seen before. I see this cat over here like all the time for like the last year, and this is my second time with Martin because Martin's been on here before. So let's go to Martin because I say hi to Krithy all the time. We want to say hi to Martin first. What's going on, Martin? Can you remind us where you are again? I know you're in another country. You're not in the United States.
In the UK.
The UK. All right, man. What's going on, man? I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. I thought you forgot about me.
No, I've been watching it actually, but got a few things on the go, so sometimes I'm sort of multitasking a bit, on these things. But
excuses.
No, there was just 3 things tonight.
Sure.
Firstly, on when you was doing the suspended 2 chords, and this is interesting. I think you'll like this. Is when you did the E suspended 2. On one point, you played the notes individually rather than just playing the chord. And suddenly a song flashed into my mind, which was Alita Adams' Get Here. So
Get Here if you
can. I looked it up.
I have a tutorial for that song, don't I?
Oh, well,
I think I do. I don't know. I think I do.
The very first chord is actually an E flat, but it's an E flat sus2. So it's interesting when you sometimes play notes, you hear something. And
E flat sus2.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. So I thought you'd like that. Sometimes one of these, how can you get a song from just 3, individual notes? But it did it. It did it. The other thing I was just going to say to you as well was, can you? And I don't know the history of this, but it's something I've used. Is the triangle for major when you're writing things out for the major 7th chords, or so C major 7, you could do C triangle 7. Is that?
Here's the thing about that. Now I can't say for sure if it's different in the UK, but in the American sheet music, most of the sheet music here, if you're looking at a chord, I have plenty of chord books here. Every time they say play a major 7, they usually write, the exact same way you see it on the screen right here. This is how they're written in that book. Like in the professional sheet music book, it'll be C capital M A G and the number 7. So because that's what people usually will see, I tend to just stick to that because my goal is to make things as easy as possible for people. I try to make it easy. So I'm like, so if they were to buy some type of chord book. You know, this is Boys to Men, by the way. I just got this. I've been wanting this book for years. It's out of print. I found it on Amazon. I just thought I'd brag about it for a second. But okay, but let me just open up to a song. And the first chord they're telling you to play is a G major 9. So let me zoom in. And I'm just saying, like I said, this is the reason why. Can y'all see that? Hold up.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold up. There we go. Okay, there we go.
Right.
You see how they wrote now? Of course, that's a major 9, but if it would have been a 7, it would have just said 7.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So and this is like every chord book that I own, whenever they say, you know, play a major 7, they write it out like that. So that's how I write my chord sheets out. When I make my chord sheets, I write it out the same way people are going to see it, so that it's just easier. That's it. But you're right. There are other ways to show major, minor, diminished. Like I think augmented is like a 0, look like a degree sign or something like that. That means augmented. And I'm like, ain't nobody need all that. We're going to keep it simple.
No.
But you are correct. You are 100% correct. Yes, a triangle does mean major 7.
Right. Yeah. The other thing I was going to just say as well is, and again, I don't know whether there's a more formal way of abbreviating this, but the way I would tend to do it is, if I'm writing something out, and I want to play a different inversion of it, then let's take the C major 7th chord again. If we want to play the 7th at the bottom, so effectively B, C, E, G, I tend to write it as C major and put the 7 below. So whether it's below the triangle or below the MAJ. So if I'm actually just looking at it, I know instantly where I'm going to actually play it. And I've also done in the past where I might do C major 7 and put a brackets 3 above it. Now I don't think that's an official way in doing it, but I find it very quick way in actually, if you're playing something through, to look at the chords and instantly know where I'm going to play it, unless of course you write in the score out, which is a different thing altogether.
Oh yeah, if you're reading the actual sheet music, it's different.
But
they're going to tell you what to play. I don't like that. I like the freedom. I like freedom. I'm like, don't tell me how to play my C minor 7. I want to play it this way. No, play it this way. No, this way. No, you know what I'm saying? But anyway.
but if you are just writing the chords out only, and you want to do that, is that just what am I doing? Is that just unique? I'm just doing it because I find that easy, or is there a more? What would be the formal way in saying, I'm going to write the chords out, but I want the 7th must be played at the root, for example.
You want to invert position.
Yeah, invert it and be told to do it. How would you write it, really?
To be honest with you, I think you can. What is it? It's like you could. Excuse me. First of all, people. You have what is called first inversion, second inversion, third inversion. I believe you can write, like if you want your C major chord to be played with first inversion. First inversion, for those of you, I might as well just teach this because it only will take a couple of seconds. First inversion is when you take the third note, or that third note of the scale, like in the key of C. When you're dealing with C major, if you take the E and you make that as like the root of the chord, this is called first inversion. No, that's second inversion. I'm sorry. Take the E and if you play it like, let me see, what's the best way? I'm trying to get my fingering right. But basically, if you have C, here we go. This is what I was trying to think, right? Okay, yes, this is what I was trying to do. Okay, so if you look on my right hand, you see that if I remove the C off my left hand, you'll see that I'm playing the E first, right? Then I'm playing the G and the C. So when you place this E first, that's called first inversion. So this would be called C major first inversion, okay? So root position, first inversion. Now, if I was to make this G the root chord, that means I would take this G and play it down here. Now, if I remove my left hand, you'll see that I'm playing the G first. and then the C, E, that's called second inversion, okay? So C, first inversion, C, second inversion, and then root position. I just figured, let me start with that first. Now, you're saying, how would you write that? I guess you can just write one IN, maybe? You know what? I'm not 100% sure how they would write it. Would it be INV, something like that? If you want it, I guess if you want it to be that specific, I don't usually see that written in the professional sheet music.
No, you don't. No.
You know, yeah, in professional sheet music, they'll just tell you the chord. But I guess you can write like one INV or two INV for second inversion. And if you're dealing with seventh chords, you know, you got third inversion. So, but to be honest with you, I can't say, I believe I've seen that written before, but I can't say for sure. So I can't give you a solid answer.
Oh, okay.
But I can say for your personal chord sheets, now for your personal chord sheet, if you want to know which inversion to play, I would say then write 1 in V, 2 in V. Just, you know, for yourself personally. But what do they do professionally? I don't really see it written out when they're just giving you chords. They just say, look, here's the chords. And then for guitar players, they'll show them an example of how, the fretboard in the chord. But, you know, they'll have little dots where to place your finger. Now, for the guitarist, that is showing them which inversion to play. For me, I usually choose my inversion by what sounds the best. Literally, it's literally what sounds the best. There's this easy song, I always talk about this song. It's "Oh Lord, We Praise You," Hezekiah Walker. It's one of the easiest songs to ever pick up because the song is complete. It's just 1, 4, 5, 1. That's the entire song, and he just keeps going up in different keys. Now, if I was to play the song like this, that might be good for an inversion, but once the song starts, to me, it sounds better doing this. Now, I'm playing the exact same chords, but in my ear is telling me it sounds better if you play the C major chord like this. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm just got a chord sheet and I've never seen it before, I'm sitting at a rehearsal and you're in a band and they're like, here's the chords, here's the chords, here's the chords. I'm just going to play whatever, at least the first time around. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know the song, but they're just saying, look, here's the chord chart. All right, y'all, let's just slowly go through it. Okay, so maybe the first time, if I've never seen the song ever in life, I've never heard it, and I see they say play 1, 4, 5, 1 or whatever, or they just say play a C chord, F chord, G chord, and 1, and then play a C chord again, I probably will go as I'm sorry about that. Okay. But eventually I'll be like, you know what? I could let me switch that up. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like I literally would just go by what sounds the best. As opposed to, you know what I'm saying? So there's no theory that I use. I literally just use my ear at that point. What sounds better? What makes sense? Not to mention that when you use inversion, sometimes you're making it easier to get to the next chord. Like you don't have to move. Like I look at the distance I have to go from C major, right? Root position to go to F major root position. Look how far I got to jump. I got to go from here to there, right? That's a nice little jump. Pay attention to that again. C major, F major. But if I was to go like this, not as much as of a jump. You know what I'm saying? I did not have to jump at that much. If you understand what I'm saying, the chords are closer.
Do the transition.
Right. Yeah, the transitions. As I'm going from one chord to the next chord, I don't have to move so far across the piano. Where if I did this, it's like I'm moving. I wish I had a camera on my physical fingers, but I could do that, but it would take a minute to get it set up right, and it just would look crazy on this live stream right now. I would have had to have that set up already to make it not. Okay, y'all, hold up, give me like 2 minutes, and then y'all watch me fumble around. But maybe next week I'll have my fingers ready. The video, the camera that records my fingers. But yeah, but for me, sometimes it's like, what is there? They're closer. So then it sounds better. So, no theoretical answer for you. Just, hey, it sounds better. It sounds better. So,
okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Yeah. You had any other questions or comments or whatever?
No, I don't think. I mean, as I say, I have played for quite a long time, but it is quite useful to watch this because it sort of sometimes refreshes things you've not necessarily forgotten, but actually just puts it into a good perspective. So it's good to sometimes just step back and watch it. So it's good. They're good sessions. Yeah, very good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's what we're trying to do here, man. We're just trying to help. I haven't said what's up to Chrissy. To Mitch Soul. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Doing great.
Okay, he's doing great, y'all. If for those of you who have not heard yet, on September 7th, this guy right here released a new music project. It's everywhere. You see that picture right there? That's the album cover. The album cover. He always does it every time I say this. He switches to that picture. That is what his album cover looks like. So, and what you do is you go to Spotify, the Fruity Music Company. I think they call it Apple. Yeah, that Fruity company, or Amazon, or Tidal, or whatever streaming service, even YouTube, even YouTube,
Yes.
and you type in Mitch Soul as the artist, but you don't use the underscore. Okay, so don't use the underscore. Just type Mitch Soul.
Do not use the
and
underscore.
Then you look. Right, and then you look for the project, which is called In Your Presence. How many songs is on there? Is it 8 songs?
It's 10 tracks.
10 tracks. So he just released it on September 7th. So go ahead on. If y'all want to purchase it, you can always go to the Apple Music, and you can purchase it from the Fruity people. Apple Music. I'm sorry, or I'm sure you probably can purchase. I need to purchase. I haven't gone back to Amazon to make sure, because if Amazon has it, I'd rather purchase it from there, or at least stream it. So that's how you put money in his pocket. That's how you support him. So make sure you check it out. Mitch Soul, In Your Present. It is right now. It's at your fingertips right now. You can listen to the project right now.
You can give me dollars. You can give me dineros. You can give me yen, pounds.
Right. Yeah. Somebody just gave me what was that again?
5 pounds.
Yeah, 5 pounds. That's right. Pound, and give me a pound. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it gave me 5. That's what I'm talking about. So, but yeah, how you doing, Mitch? What's going on, man?
I'm doing better.
Dang, it took you a long time to say, like, I'm like, oh man, you okay, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
Just preparing for work tomorrow, but
okay.
I'm good.
You sound really excited about going to work. I'm going to scroll through and see if there were any questions that I may have missed. Let me say this: if you have a question, even if you typed it before, because sometimes it's just hard to scroll through all this.
I think
if you have a question, can you type it again, y'all?
Yeah, Acoustic Gassi asks, any tips on how to play without looking at the keyboard?
Sure, Mayoli. Actually practice it. Like literally. I'm not even really. I guess I'm trying to be a little bit funny, but in all honesty,
yeah,
you have to start playing without looking. It's literally that simple. You have to do it, and guess what? I am not a master of that.
Yeah,
because I tend to look a lot. So if you see me. If you ever pay attention to my tutorials, right? When I'm actually playing, when I start my tutorial, usually I'm playing the song in the beginning, right?
Right.
I'm usually looking at a chord sheet, because there's no way I can I don't take the time to memorize how to play a song. It already took me 2 hours to get the video to learn how to play the song to teach it to you. So I'm not going to take another 2 hours to memorize it. No, I'm just going to look at my chord sheet. So if you ever pay attention to me, you'll see me look just like this. You'll always see me looking up, looking down.
Yeah.
If you ever pay attention, you'll see my head bouncing all the time because I'm always looking down too. So I am not a master. I have not mastered it myself. You will see. Just look at any of my tutorial videos, most of them, unless I know how to play the song already. Now, if I know how to play the song, well, even if I know how to play the song already, I'm still going to look down because it's just out of habit. So, but if you want to get out of that, you actually just have to do it. You have to tell yourself, take a simple song. Take that song I was just playing just now, the "Oh Lord, we praise you," and practice. And just practice. And if you mess up, okay, just keep doing it.
Yeah, we all make mistakes.
And just practice. Take it to the next key.
If you make a
Take it to the next key. I'm about to mess up. Take it to the next key. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Next key. Am I right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, I think we're in the key of F now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. I'm gonna stop right there because I'm gonna start messing up. But yeah, it's really about like literally just practicing.
I also
go ahead, Mitch. You want to add?
Let me add on to that because it's all about memory of sound, and muscle memory of the sound, and also if you look at the keyboard and you actually study every note, on the board. Once you memorize that and you see all that, that is what will make you remember without depending whatever chord you're playing. It depends whatever chord you're playing. That gives you you have to have the memory for all of that, and as long as you look at the board. You close your eyes and you can actually visualize the board and whatever chord you're playing. That's all sound memory and visualizing the board. That's what it's all about too.
Okay. All right. I don't know. Mayoli's over here asking all kinds of questions. He says, "Oh no, he's answering a question." Oh. Okay, who was this? So it was someone named Preston that had a question. Well, let me see what Preston's question was. Is this him right here? Preston. What's the difference between a diminished and a half diminished chord? Pretty simple. I kind of showed. I visually showed the difference, but let me visually show the difference when you're looking at it from a piano standpoint. Okay, you can't. I have to take your question down so y'all can see my keyboard. Okay, so here's the C minor 7 chord, right? A half diminished chord just means that you are taking that major fifth and lower it a half step. There you go. Okay, that's it. That's half diminished. But sometimes the composer or the creator of the song is like, no, I didn't use a half diminished chord. I used a fully diminished chord. So the best way to explain the difference between the two chords is I'm going to say use your ear. Use your ear. You hear the difference? Listen. Well, what's the difference? Listen to the difference. There you go. There's a difference. There's a difference in the sound. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So as you're playing songs or whatever, and you're getting chords, maybe you're looking at a tutorial that I've done, or you're looking at sheet music that you purchased or something. It's like definitely you want to pay attention to whether they're telling you to play that flat 5 or that fully diminished, because what's the difference? The actual sound is the difference. And Mayoli was saying that B flat and B flat. Well, no, he's saying flat 7 and double flat 7 is the difference. Is essentially the 6 whole step. Oh, he's giving you the theoretically. That's to me. That's sometimes that's hard to understand. I understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. All right, let me see. Are you available for a collab? You talked. Oh, my bad. Okay, that's something else. Okay, my bad. What's the difference between a diminished? Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'm going to tell y'all right now, don't make me scroll all the way up. If you typed your question a long time ago, do me a favor, just type it again, please, please, please. Let me see. Let me say what's up to people. Again, Lloyd, Lawrence, thank you again. And what's going on? I see Kasai is in the house. James Bush, I think I said hi to you already. Is that Free Smoke? What's going on? Thank you for joining us. We have Jonas Guzman was in here. If you're still in here, what's going on? Okay, I'm going to scroll back down to see if there's any new questions that's coming on. Working on my next project. Okay. Dang, Mitch Soul just released a project and he got another one coming out. He worse than EO. Okay, anyway. Let me see. He's like Prince, man. He always, releasing new albums every week. I'm talking about Krithy over here. And EO. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I missed any questions. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm here. And feel free to come on the panel if you want to ask live. That's fine.
I see a question here from Champ 0.
Did it just come through?
No. It says
well, so he been asked it?
Yeah, he been asked it.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. You said his name is Champ?
Yeah, Champ 0426.
Next lesson, can you have, is this the question you're talking about?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, next lesson, can you have sharp? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's real simple too. And flat 5 and flat 9. Sometimes you might see sharp 5, flat 9. Absolutely. Champ, yes. If you're still here, yes, that's good. That's good. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We sure can. We absolutely can. Appreciate your viz and insights. It says, I'll just call you fake. Is it Fakeasaur?
Fakeasaur, yeah. You
Fakeasaur. Okay, well, I'm not being fake when I say thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not being a Fakeasaur when I say that. Man, I appreciate you saying that, man. No doubt. Thank you so much, man. I'm glad to be able to help.
I think Jonas Guzman also asks, when you move the root note to the top. I don't know what you mean by that, but I guess that is a form of a question. I'm not sure.
Okay, I would need more information. You said the name is Jonas. Was this earlier in the chat?
Yeah. Right, because it was at 8:23.
8:23. Oh man, I'm in 7 something. Okay, hold up. All right, 8:23. Jonas. Okay. When you moved the root note to the top, was that maybe he was responding to somebody else?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know, because the root note to the top. Yeah, I'm not sure, but okay. But again, okay. Champ says first inversion. I'm just reading. I'm just waiting to see or heard of. Again, if there's no questions, then I'm not going to waste any more of y'all time. So, we can get on off here unless y'all have something that y'all wanted to talk about. But I'm, like I said, now, for those of you who are usually here on my Saturday stream, now if you're just coming in and you're looking for the lesson, I've already completed the lesson. All you got to do is just look at the beginning of this live stream. I actually went way more in detail than I even planned on doing. To be honest with you, I wasn't even going to be that detailed. So make sure you check the stream out from the very beginning. I gave you some good stuff, some good tips, some formulas, I should say,
question again.
to use to help you, figure out these chords and learn these chords on your own. So check that out. I will be back again live with my usual, live stream panel. For those of you that's ever been on my live streams before, you know who's usually on here. So we'll be back on Saturday. We're going to try to start it on time, somewhere around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And and this Saturday we will be doing open mic night. Okay, for those of you who haven't been to my live streams on Saturdays is not a lesson. We don't do lessons. Saturdays we're enjoying music. We usually have some type of theme every week. Like for the month of September, we had, we want to do a night with just soft rock music. We want to recreate our favorite songs, our soft rock songs. And then we had disco. Yeah, then we had a disco night when we recreated disco songs. Mm-hmm. Then last Saturday, we had a pop music night where we recreated our favorite pop songs. Right. Well, this Saturday evening, we're having open mic, which means you can just do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Within reason. We don't do those inappropriate songs, okay? No WAP.
Nope.
And the last time I said WAP, I told y'all I know what that stands for, and someone tried to tell me. Mm-hmm. No, they told me that, well, Richard, what does it mean? Can you say it? I'm going to tell you what WAP stands for, okay? And this is going to be the last time I ever say this, because I want y'all to understand that I do know what WAP stands for. Mm-hmm. Are you ready to hear what WAP stands for? You ready to hear it come out of my mouth? Y'all ready? Here it goes. WAP stands for Why Apple Products. That's what it stands. Why do y'all buy Apple products? Why do you buy that fruity company's products? Why Apple products? That's what WAP stands for. Okay, that's what it stands. It's like y'all think I don't know. I told y'all, man. I know what it stands for. Okay, I just had someone send me a $1 cash app. Rhonda, if you're out there, thank you so much. I don't want to put your last name out there just in case you don't want it, but if you sent something, Rhonda, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. And that was came through on the Cash App. So thank you so much. So yeah, there you go. Y'all people wanted to hear it out of my mouth. Y'all wanted to hear me say it. There you go. I finally said it on my live stream what WAP stands for. Y'all need to hear me say it again. It stands for Why Apple Products. Okay, but anyway, back to what I was saying. Hold up. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. She sent something else. Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. She sent $1 as a test just to make sure it was the right one. But then she sent $20. Wow. So Rhonda, total. Thank you so much. I don't even. Can you say something in the chat then? Say something in the chat. But it just says for appreciation or appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's a generous gift. $21 from. Did you send it from an Apple product? Because if you do, I'll say something nice about an Apple. If you use an Apple product to send this $21, then I would say something nice. So go ahead on in the chat and let me know if you if you sent something from an Apple product, then I'll say something nice.
Oh no.
But anyway, this Saturday, y'all, we're doing open mic night. Appropriate songs only. We don't do any cursing words. So if you have a song and maybe there's just like one word or something like that, okay, just replace it. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Just replace it with another word, or just don't say it. You know, it's not that. It's not.
He said, "From Apple, we thank you."
Whatever, D. Whatever, D. But yeah. So join us Saturday. So Saturday is good. We have it's a lot of talented musicians and producers, we all get together and we present music. So it's just a time to come back and just enjoy good music. So I have 2 songs I know I'm working with. I'm collaborating with 2 people. I'm doing one song with Kim C over there, that old lady over there, and I'm supposed to be doing a song with Nisha too. So that
Almost
means I
spat my
have some
water
work
out.
I need to do between now and Saturday. So
I almost spat my water out.
oh, that's all good. But yeah, so just come back Saturday. It's a good time. Saturdays is always wonderful. And then next week, I'm glad that person said that. So next week we're going to look at what did I say again? Well, we got the sharp. Someone asked about sharp 5,
And
sharp
nine.
9s, and flat 5, flat 9s, because you do see that written in music. So we will go over those chords. Did I say 9? I said 9s. We're going to go
Yes.
over 9s. We're going to go over major 9, minor 9ths,
Yes.
dominant 9. So yeah, so we're going to extend the chords. So we're going to just extend the chords and go over that. So yeah, so stay tuned next week. I hope you were able to take something from the lesson today. Again, if you're just joining us, we've already had the lesson. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is just go back. Please, if you enjoyed the lesson, give this stream a thumbs up. It definitely helps. Definitely appreciate it. And it helps push this channel and the live stream through that YouTube algorithm so that y'all telling YouTube, hey, we like what that big headed dude be doing on his channel. Yeah, show more people. So definitely do that, man. So we appreciate it. And if I'm giving you about 30 more seconds to see if there's any questions. If there's no more questions, then we're going to go ahead on and hop off for the evening, and I will see you Saturday. So we're just waiting. So we're going to sit here and twiddle our thumbs for a second. As a matter of fact, let me play. I'm going to play one. I'm going to play this one video while we wait. We're just going to wait. It's like a 30-second video. So you have from the time that I play this 30-second video to type your question, and if not, we're going to log off. Okay. Now this is this crazy dude that I found on TikTok, right? And I was like, oh, this is funny. I said, I think people on my stream would appreciate this. So I'm setting up my audio so that you can hear my audio. Okay, now I'm gonna go to TikTok. Then I'm gonna show y'all. Hold up. And then we're gonna get off here if there's no other questions. Hold on. Boom, boom. Okay, we wanna go. I saved the video, right? Boom. Okay, so here we go. All right, so we're gonna all right, let me show y'all this. Okay. Y'all ready? Check this out. It's a crazy dude right here. Check him out. Okay, as soon as I tried to do this thing acting stupid. Oh, hold up. I think I know why. We want to refresh this one more time.
Got it figured out.
Here we go.
Oh, I pretty much got it figured out. What's your favorite beer? An open one? And how do you know when you've had too much? I run out. Yeah. Have you ever been to an AA meeting? AA is for quitters.
I'm going to let it play one more time. Hold on.
You have a drinking problem? No, I pretty much got it figured out. What's your favorite beer? An open one? And how do you know when you've had too much? I run out. Yeah. Have you ever been to an AA meeting? AA is for quitters.
So yeah, I mean he's a silly dude, but if y'all want to follow him, y'all should follow him on TikTok. His name is House of Jazz. Okay, so yeah, if y'all have a TikTok y'all like to follow, he does. Now most of his videos are music related, okay, but he does have 2 comedy videos on there So y'all know, give him a follow. Let's get him up to 100 followers. He got 96 views. He's a nice looking dude. Look at that. Look at that nice smile right there. His name is House of Jazz. Check him out. Most of his videos are music related, but he does have videos like this as well.
Marlon, you gonna get it? Who did it? Who left the towel in the swimming pool? Go to bed, Joseph. Go to bed. Who he talking to like that? Talking to yo. Ain't talking to me. Must got me confused with somebody else.
You know what? AJ Johnson's voice was in that clip, and he just passed away yesterday too. Yeah, so R.I.P. Yeah. I just did that TikTok just a few weeks ago, and his voice was in there. So yeah, rest in peace. I didn't realize he had passed away, but yeah. So just thought I'd end it off with a little jokey joke. But there was a question that came up. So Mayoli, let's see. How long I'm sure that's supposed to be it. Okay. How long did it take you to learn how to read sheet music? Well, let's see. I'm 44 years old now. 44 years. Let me see. I remember, hey, James, what's going on? This is it's like so many James coming to my stream. It's like when I say James, it's like I got to announce which James I'm saying hi to. I'm saying hi to this James right here. There you go. Antoine. Okay. For me, I remember now I wasn't I wasn't a musician, and I really wasn't even singing when I was in middle school, but I remember having Miss Perry at Northeast Middle School here in Baltimore City. For anybody that might know Baltimore City, I went to Northeast Middle School, and I remember having a music class where she taught us Every Good Boy Does Fine and Face. That was the only thing I remember. I remember that, but I really didn't know what that meant. But for some reason, I just always remembered that. Fast forward about 3 years later, I'm a sophomore in high school. And that's when I decided. It was at the end of my freshman year that I decided I was going to be a music major. My high school actually had music as a major. So I decided to do that. And when I was in high school, I started getting theory classes. And then, of course, that Every Good Boy Does Fine came back into play. And then and FACE. And that stuff came back into play. I took it upon myself. I was a vocal music major. I was not a piano major. I was a vocal major, high school and in college. But I really desired to play the piano, to learn how to play the piano. So I took the stuff that I learned in music theory and I applied it to songs that I like. One of the first sheet musics I ever got was On Bended Knee by Boyz II Men. And I literally just sat there, like each note, literally just like that. And and then I would, and before, it's like for me, I don't remember. It just started making sense. I just started naturally picking up. And one thing, I'm going to tell you another thing that helped me out. At the church that I went to growing up, at one point there wasn't a musician who played the piano. And so because I started learning how to read the treble clef and bass clef, when we would have like the Sunday school songs or whatever, they would allow me to sit on the piano and just play the melody of the notes in the hymn book. Just be stuff in the hymn book and stuff, easy stuff. And so I started doing that pretty well. And they said, yeah, can you do that? Because that keeps us all on the same key. We all start on the same key. It's like, so if you can just do that, that's fine. So they let me do that. Okay. But as I was doing that, I just started to naturally read both notes that was on that treble clef in the hymn book. And then before I knew it, I just started adding the bass clef. So I would say within a year's time, maybe less than a year, was when I started to be able to really read music. Now, I'm not going to say that I am like the best in the world at reading music. But if you put a hymn book in front of me, I'll be able to play the song. Because, of course, when it comes to reading music, you also have to know rhythms. You have to be able to read the rhythm. So that means you have to know that a quarter note in 4/4 time is one beat. In 6/8 time, that quarter note is now, whatever. As depending on the time, there's a lot of things that goes into reading music. You have to understand your time signature. You might have a 4/4 time signature. You might have a 2/2 time signature. You might have a 6/8 or a 12/8 time signature. As that bottom number changes, so does how long you supposed to hold a quarter note, how long the whole note is, how long you hold the notes, the value of the notes. So I would say within a year's time, I started to understand and it started to make sense. And then I was able to pretty much open up a hymn book and just be able to play it. It might be a couple of mistakes or whatever, but it just started happening because I had a fire and a burning passion and desire to learn that. So between songs that I wanted to learn, I think I had sheet music for "Cry for You" by Jodeci back in the day. I wish I could find that. That sheet music done disappeared. You can't even find it anywhere. I had that. At one point, I had "I Miss You" by Aaron Hall. I remember I had got that sheet music. And I would just find sheet music that back in the day, you didn't have digital stuff. You had to go to the store. I would go to the music store and just find songs that I like, and I would buy it up and I would just sit there and just do it. And before I knew it, and think about it, I'm a young man at this time. So, when you're younger, when you're a teenager, you tend to pick up things quicker. You know what I'm saying? So it came rather quickly. I would think if I knew nothing about reading music right now at 44 years old, it probably would take a little bit more time for me to learn. But because I started at a young age, I believe that's the reason. I can say within a year's time, I was able to at least read sheet music to be able to get through the song. And then, after I read it the first time, then I could play it the second time and even fill it in even better. And then, it'd be pretty good, So, yeah. So, any other questions? Going once, going twice. I also want to say, okay, again, you can follow me on TikTok. There's like miniature versions of my tutorials. Sometimes I'll post up videos where you can do a duet with me. Like I'll play a song and, it's like, okay, I'll allow you to make a duet, if you just want to do, just some fun stuff, and you'll see previews of my new tutorials and stuff like that. Sometimes you'll just see performances that I don't necessarily put on my YouTube channel. Also, you can follow me on House of Jazz. You can follow me on House of Jazz. You can follow me on Instagram at House of Jazz as well. Sometimes you'll see stuff there that you won't see on my channel. And of course, if you're not following me here on YouTube, you can literally click that subscribe button right now that's on your screen and then click that notification bell so that you can get notifications when I go live. At this point, I've been doing live streams twice a week. This is basically my second month doing that because this is episode 8, right? And a month typically has 4 weeks in it. So since this is episode for the last 2 months, I've been doing 2 live streams. So Wednesdays and Saturdays. Okay, so we'll see you back here Saturday for open mic night. Sit back, pop some popcorn, drink some water, soda. Some of y'all call it pop. Pop goes the weasel. Let me see what Mayoli said. Thank you, Richard. I'm trying to evaluate whether it's worth to learn how to read sheet music. It's always worth. It's always worth investing time in your craft. It's always worth it. It's always worth it. Always to learn something new about your craft and to be able to understand it better. It is always worth it. So yeah, I can answer that question. It's worth it. Do you absolutely need it to be a good musician? No. You don't have to be able to do that to be a great musician. Will it help you and will it be a benefit to you? Yes, absolutely it will. It absolutely will. It will allow you to be able to play music from, not just chords, but it's like, oh wow, okay, what if you pick up a hymn book? Hymn books. Maybe you have a hymn book, a hymn that you love. Most hymn books will not have the chords written on top of it. And you're like, oh man, I wish I could just play this song. But all it is, it's literally just a treble and bass clef. Well, you can say, oh, okay, well, I know how to read that. And you know what I'm saying? So just there, right there, it's like, oh, okay, cool. I can play it. So yeah, it's absolutely worth it. Okay. So, cool. If there are no other questions, I'd like to thank Martin and Mitch Soul for hanging out with me for a couple of seconds. Again, we'll be back next week. We'll be back Saturday for open mic night. So just come by. We don't do any lessons on Saturdays. We just listen to music, have fun. Hold up. We rap country and western. This must be Juella. This must be Juella. That's from the Five Heartbeats, y'all. I know where that quote is from, y'all. We rap country and western. What's going on, Juella?
Hi.
Hey, y'all. She has a special day coming up Saturday, y'all.
Oh,
we'll tell you what it is on Saturday, y'all. But Saturday's a special day for her. But anyway, was there something that you wanted to say before we got off, Jewel? Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to head out. Catch you on Saturday, okay? And don't forget to leave that thumbs up. And again, thank you all for joining me. And if you have any suggestions of stuff that you want me to cover, leave it in the comments section on the regular part of the video. Not right here, not on the live chat, but like when I stop this stream, go to the regular comments section. And just like that person said, sharp 5 and flat 5 and sharp 9s and all that stuff. If you have some stuff that you would like for me to cover, leave it in the regular comment section, okay? And we'll get to it. All right, cool. All right, we'll catch y'all next time.